Hey y'all, Mike with Cardboard Kingdom. Welcome back to another Disney Lorcana video. Today we'll be looking at the prices of sealed Disney Lorcana booster boxes. We're going to pair those up against their expected value to give us a good idea of what maybe sets we could or should be opening right now, which sets probably best to be left as a collectible at this point, and just kind of discuss strategy on what can we open right where we can have a good chance of breaking even, maybe add some cards to our collection, sell off some singles, etc. So with that being said, starting with the first chapter, this one's kind of a no-brainer, guys. Lowest on the market in terms of like a good, reputable seller for the English version of the set would be $430 on TCGPlayer. The lowest on eBay for a buy it now is about $370. The expected value, excuse me, for this product is about $178. Now, just as a reminder, if you're new to the channel, I get this expected value, this data provided to me from someone in the community. I do not run it myself. With that being said, I have cross-referenced what they give me with other places in the market that offer this type of data, and it always has been right within the margin of error. So I do believe it to be confident. As a reminder, also, it does include a 1 in 96 pull rate for Enchanteds, and I think it's 1 in 5 for Legendary. 1 in 3-ish for super rare, and then so on. So it does assume, just traditional pull rates, and then it's also only calculates cards worth 35 cents or higher. So technically, if you included every card in the set, the expected value would be a little bit higher. But whenever you're not, I think it's best to take out like those bulk cards that you might be lucky to sell and really get anything out of. We don't want to count those in our expected value because, quite frankly, you're not going to be able to sell those a lot of times at a decent rate. So expected value for the first chapter is sitting at $178. Therefore, we can look and say, all right, $178 is what I'm going to get out of this box, most likely, assuming traditional pull rates. We look at the lowest box we can get on the market at $370, and we say we probably should not open this. Now, look, there's always the one-off scenario where you pull the Elsa, you pull the Tinkerbell, so on and so on. If you're doing any sort of grading right, then if you pull a card and it gets a 10, then that has a chance to get you above the total cost of the box. But right now, guys, chapter 1 is definitely left better as a collectible at this point. If you need to open chapter 1 or want to open chapter 1, I would highly advise the Japanese variant, where you can still get it relatively cheaply and affordable at $50 to $60 a box. Now, with that being said, you're not going to get as many cards, there's not as many packs, and there's a reason why it's $60, right? The cards aren't worth as much. But if you need some first chapter cards for your decks, for your collection, keep in mind, all language variants are tournament legal. So if you need some first chapter cards, go out and get an alternate variant that's a little bit cheaper, Chinese, Japanese, etc., and be able to open it that way. So that is where we're at for the first chapter. Definitely best to leave that one as a collectible in the closet right now. Another box here for Rise of the Floodborn. Moving over to Rise of the Floodborn, we have $160 is the lowest on TCGPlayer. When we look on eBay, the lowest buy it now is $159, essentially. It's got 21 watchers, probably won't last too long, but essentially $160 roughly across the board. Now, the expected value for Rise of the Floodborn is about $112. So this is one where it's definitely a lot closer than the first chapter, right? And so Rise of the Floodborn, while I do suggest a very similar approach to the first chapter, this is not one that is as egregious. If you're just getting into Lorcana and you want to open some Floodborn, I would say it's definitely within that range of possibilities to go ahead and do it, with the box price going to be about $160. Expected value sitting around $111, right? Pretty big difference, but not that egregious in the overall scheme of things. And so this is one, once again, excuse me, guys, I've got all sorts of allergies going on today. This is one that I would advise going the Japanese route. Once again, you can get a Chinese box for $46. You can get a Japanese box for closer to $60. If you get on eBay and look for a Japanese box, I think you're going to be closer to the $40 to $50 range. And so that is where I would say maybe I would go if I was trying to open Rise of the Floodborn, probably recommending keeping this one sealed as well. But once again, not out of the range of possibilities. You get a couple cold foils of some of those Rise of the Floodborn meta cards, and you're doing all right. So that is where we're at for Rise of the Floodborn. Moving right along, guys, into the Inklings. $82, cheapest box on TCGPlayer. There is a seller that has boxes at $65 plus $8 in shipping, so about $72 on eBay. You can also look on eBay and look at some auctions and things like that. These boxes have been popping up everywhere, so I would not be surprised if you can find a box cheaper than, you know, the 72 all in. Right now, Inkland's expected value is about $72. And so this is one that I would say, now look, obviously if you've been around any time at all, you've had plenty of opportunity to open Inklands, right? Whether it's through the various different ancillary products like the Costco box, or just a traditional Inkland's booster box. These have been popping up at, you know, $5 bin stores for 20, 30 bucks. So if you're like me, you have a lot of Inklands and you don't really want to open anymore or need to open anymore. But if you're truly grinding it out, trying to build your enchanteds while selling some singles, Inklands is full of meta cards, and it truly was a great set. And so that is keeping its expected value up at around 72, despite it being printed, you know, 4 to 5 times, I feel like, a lot of the other sets. So Into the Inklands is definitely one that I would be fine with opening and would not have any hesitation whatsoever, given the fact that the boxes are so cheap and the expected value is at a very fair range at 72. This is one that I feel like if you need some Inklands, I would go out, get it, and get to ripping. Definitely not one that I'd worry about keeping sealed anytime soon. While that point will come, right? Inklands will eventually, you know, be at a point where it's dried up. It seems like it is an infinite supply at this point, okay? Moving over to Ursula's Return, currently sitting at $95 on TCGPlayer. This is one that man, Ursula's Return has been a mystery to me. It is the lowest expected value, to jump ahead a little bit, out of any Disney Lorcana booster box at $67. Ursula's Return has been low since the start. It kind of just cratered in expected value after release, but the booster box prices are still remaining pretty steady. Lowest on eBay is $120 coming from Canada. And then, like I said, TCGPlayer sitting at 95, expected value down at 67. So not the widest gap if you're able to pick one up on TCGPlayer at a good rate. Maybe you can find someone on eBay, send out some offers. But at the end of the day, expected value is the absolute lowest of any set coming out of Ursula's Return. The enchanteds in the set were not very well received by the public. The playable cards were not that plentiful. It has awesome cards like the Diablo, but by and large, Ursula's Return, not the best bang for your buck right now. Definitely in a fine spot to open overall, but you are going to be a little bit in the red in terms of expected value versus the cost of the box. And I would argue that this is probably the second most printed set. We've seen booster box prices really stabilize after Inklands and Ursula's Return. So I would say Ursula's Return, not as much as Inklands, but probably a little bit more than things like we see like Archazia's Island. Either that or the demand grew, maybe a little bit of both. Moving over to set 5, Shimmering Skies, one of my favorite sets. We have 110 for a booster box on TCGPlayer. We have 110 for a booster box on eBay. We have an expected value of $70. So while this is one of my favorite sets, the expected value it's the second lowest behind Ursula's Return. Now, I think Shimmering Skies is going to be looked upon a little bit more favorably than it is now with the new Enchanted style that came out with this set. We see that Archazia's Island is being much more well received, and this has the same Enchanted format as Archazia's Island. Now, it doesn't have as many playable cards, and so that expected value down at 70. Not the best bang for your buck. You're looking at a $40, kind of like if you just have traditional pull rates, you're going to be in the red about $40 as soon as you buy this box. Once again, anytime we're like in that range, I would say it's completely acceptable to open the box. I definitely don't think it's in like a first chapter type range yet. Really, the first chapter is the only one that I would strongly advise against opening. The rest are in a decent range. And these, like from Inklands to Ursula's Return to here, like we don't have alternate language variants yet. So if you want to open Shimmering Skies, which I'm a huge fan of, right? I opened a ton of this set. I absolutely loved it. I pulled the Clarabelle. I pulled the Robin Hood. There's one other. I think the cards look amazing in the set. I'm a huge fan of Shimmering Skies, which I did not like when it first came out. And I was just completely wrong on that. So maybe find some boxes on eBay, try and do some best offers. I absolutely love this set, but right now it's just a little bit in the red for my liking in terms of going out and opening. Now, and keep in mind, guys, when I'm talking about this, I've been here from the start. I've opened cases of all of these sets. I have a huge inventory of all of these sets. So you might be coming at this from a different direction, but hopefully you at least have the data to know, okay, if I buy a Shimmering Skies box because I really want to open it, it's going to cost me about 100, 110. Expected value, should everything remain consistent, going to be about 70 to 75. So that's just, once again, to give you guys some good numbers. Don't necessarily take, what I'm saying in terms of my strategy to heart. You have to do what's best for you and your collection, and ultimately optimizing for your joy. I'm a huge proponent of that. Do what makes you happy, however you want to interact in this hobby, whether that's sealed stuff, whether that's singles, whether that's playing the game. Maximize for your joy. We are on this rock floating through the space for a very short, minute amount of time, very finite. So maximize for your joy, and that's all I would. That's the only true advice I have for you today. Moving over to Azurite Sea. So this is a very interesting set. $102, $103 lowest on TCGPlayer. We move over to eBay. You're staring at about 110. I think there were maybe some boxes. They were like 103, but they were kind of sorted weird. So we'll say 110 because there's quite a few listings for Azurite Sea at 110. This box is one that the expected value is very, very nice. $92 for Azurite Sea. And this is such a unique box because this is a box that its enchanteds are the cheapest by a mile. The treasure map style of enchanted foil that came with this set were not well received by the public. And so you really get some good playables in here that are driving up the value. Now, I will say that whenever I was initially covering the Azurite Sea release for the enchanteds, a lot of you guys told me that you loved them and they were your favorite yet. What I will say is they're yours for the taking, right? They are the cheapest by a mile, but the in terms of the expected value and the box prices, right in line with what we want to see. You're barely in the red, kind of $5 to $10 when you look at expected value versus the total cost of the box. So Azurite Sea is one that I would say without a doubt, similar to Inklands, completely fine with ripping, not in that collectible state whatsoever thus far, and once again, mainly coming from the Enchanted. So if you like the Enchanted style, that kind of treasure map, brown, goldish layout that they had, I would say now is your time to cook and pick up those boxes if you want to rip, or the singles. Hey, that's not supposed to be there. I was looking at this deck box that came in the organized play kit for Archazia's Island, but it is relevant to today's discussion. Booster box for Archazia's Island, once again, $132, lowest price on the market. This box and the set is hitting entirely different. Right now, the lowest box for a buy it now on the market on eBay, I believe, is around $140, $150. You can pick up some cases for maybe a little bit less than that. But yeah, I mean, this set is it's just absolutely crushing it. Archazia's Island is by far, if I had to rank the sets, my set list would go, man, I love Rise of the Floodborn, but in terms of just overall set, I would probably say first chapter, just for the provenance and what it did. I would then go to Archazia's Island, I think, and that might be recency bias. We'll see once we get to Reign of Jafar and Fable, but I really, really, really enjoy Archazia's Island. The enchanteds are gorgeous. The entire enchanted roster as a whole is amazing. I love every single card in it. So I think Archazia's Island would be second. Then it would be a 3A, 3B with Floodborn and Shimmering Skies for me. I love both of those sets. But yeah, Archazia's Island definitely in an okay spot. Would like to see it a lot better considering it's the newest. Expected value for the set sitting at $100 flat. So this box is, you're going to pay $120, $130 for it. It's in at $100 in expected value. And so much of that value is tied to the high end, like Tamatoas, McDucks, and just some of the higher end enchanteds. There truly isn't that many playables in the set right now, apart from your mainstays in Sapphire. Now, what I would say is this box is likely going to see an increase in value as we get some more cards built around the kind of like, I guess you call them like titles or types that came in this box, like some like vanish type traits and things like that. They're going to be built on with more sets to come, or at least you would imagine. And so with that being said, this would likely increase in expected value pretty dramatically as some of those other cards become more meta defining. We get away from this, just sapphire stack of decks that is currently kind of conquering the game, and get into some more open formats and open deck types. I think that we could see the expected value rise. So if you're willing to sit on the singles that you get for a little bit, I think that Archazia's Island may not be, bad to open. Now, if you look at some other stuff, like obviously for any of these sets, if you kind of just look at the total cost, then you look at my expected values and you kind of get a good price per pack, you can look for individual sleeved boosters. You can look for individual packs, which I don't necessarily recommend, but you can also look for things like troves or gift boxes to get a decent price per pack, where expected value does come out to a decent point. So for like these boxes, so if you look at Rise of the Floodborn and the expected value is sitting about 111, 112, if you divide that by 24 and get your price per pack, and then you can go out on the market and try and get as close to that number as possible. Now, you're not going to get that close for a set like Rise of the Floodborn, but that same kind of strategy you could extrapolate across any different set amongst Disney Lorcana. I will say to end, this is the Lilo and gift set box, and you guys tell me if I'm crazy here, but this is a product like I have not kept that much sealed back. Like I have my first chapter cases, I have my first chapter sleeve boosters. I have a few sleeve boosters from every set, not much. And then I've got like an Inklings case, and then I've got a lot of the Troves and gift sets, starter decks. But in terms of like sealed, like I really have not prioritized that at all. Like I enjoy the individual cards just way too much. Like the promos, the enchanteds, the trophy cards, the D23 stuff, like the sealed stuff is definitely much more of like an investment. Therefore, it's not as fun, right? I don't personally get a lot of joy out of having these sealed boxes. This is a product that if you can pick it up at $29.99 all in, I feel like it's just an absolute no-brainer. I'm building up quite a collection of these. I've opened a ton of them. I have some of them sealed. You can get them right now for $29 with free shipping. And if you're like tax exempt as a business on eBay right now, I submitted an offer for $25 on eBay, and someone accepted it, and there was a decent quantity of them. So I'm getting them for $25 a piece right now. The promos are sitting around like $10, and then the price per pack for your packs is very, very affordable. And so I feel like this is a product that is just going to do very well long term. It displays well. It's the first multi-pack product that we've gotten. It's got an amazing promo in it. It's got kind of everything that I'm looking for in terms of like the sealed side of things, and I absolutely just love this product. So this is one that I would say, if you can get it for $29 or cheaper, all in, delivered to your door, that is something that makes a ton of sense to me. I think that this is going to be the cheapest price per pack that really we're ever going to see in Lorcana. There might be some times where you can get just cheaper individual packs and things like that, but with the promo being $10 and the price for the product being around $30, you're getting 5 packs for $20. That is not a bad price per pack as it relates to Lorcana. Obviously, pull rates have been here and there. I've opened boxes where I haven't gotten anything. I've opened boxes where I've gotten enchanteds, right? So there's a ton of variance. But by and large, this is definitely a product that if you can get it for, we'll just say less than $30, whether that's somewhere at $20 even or $29.99, I think this is really the best product that you can open right now, because you're getting so much value back out of the promo. And then for my investors out there, I think this is an awesome product to keep sealed. I think that we're gonna, as Lorcana grows and we get into this hype cycle that I've talked about a lot recently, I think that this product is gonna be poised for people who get into Lorcana, who want to go back and open some of the older sets as you get further and further away from their releases. I think this is a product I can just see doing very well. But once again, anytime I talk about the investment side of things, know that I'm buying these for to literally bubble wrap, put in a tote, and address at a later date. Like, I am not looking at the price daily. I have no desire to sell these in the short term. These are very much a long-term hold for me. Like, I know a lot of you guys are looking to take profits on things like the first chapter, which I have no problem with, right? Like, these boxes, for me, they're up 3 to 4 times what I paid for them. Now, as soon as I made that investment into those boxes, I bubble wrapped them, put them away, and got them out of my sight. And I try to forget about them as much as possible because as we get into Worlds and Fabled and things like that, like, if they don't reprint that set again, like, that set could be $1,000 box sooner rather than later. And then it's only going to go up from there, right? It's a deflationary asset. And I just don't. I don't want to sell right now, and I probably, there could definitely be an argument to be made that you could, but whenever I buy the sealed stuff, like, I don't really count it as inventory. I don't track it. I just wrap it and get out of my sight because I want to open it, right? I want to enjoy the cards. I want to enjoy the art. I don't get not a sealed collector, right? I don't derive any joy from that. I want to hold the cards. I want to enjoy it with my family and so on. But this is a product, once again, to bring it back to the video, don't have the expected value on this box. Is, there's a wide array of assortment of products that you can get in here in terms of packs, set 2 through set 6. But I think that it's expected value, if you can get it sub 30, is in a nice spot. The last thing I'll mention is someone in the community named Stockholm. He's been messaging on the Discord frequently, reminding us that our Azurite Sea has a chance to be one of the least printed sets in existence. And the more he's talked about it, and I've seen him mentioning it, and I've just kind of been thinking about it, and he's on to something with these boxes. So I've opened 7 of these gift boxes, and I have not gotten a single pack that I can remember of Azurite Sea. Now, you'll notice that this is set 2 through set 6, right? So in theory, should have Azurite Sea. Now, I have gotten plenty of Floodborn, plenty of Inklings, Ursula's Return, etc., but I have never gotten an Azurite Sea pack, or if I have, it might have been just like one. So that is very interesting in the sense that this product seems like it was filled with a lot of their like leftover packs, where that was Floodborn, Inklings, and Ursula's Return, mainly just Inklings and Ursula's Return, right? As you're going to get 2 of each of those packs in pretty much every box, for the most part. I have been hard-pressed to find any Azurite Sea. The listings for that product online are already relatively low, and the fact that it was so poorly received by the community, I had a lot of people who skipped that set that I know of, that messaged me just like, hey, these enchances are not it. I'm going to skip this one. Now, the expected value of the box definitely kept some people around and brought people back into it. But the fact that people skipped it, the fact that we're not seeing it in any of this product, and it just wasn't as hyped. And while the print runs are definitely, excuse me, going to be before they can really tell any sort of hype cycle, maybe they like forecasted that the enchances wouldn't be that well received. I don't know. I doubt that. But this product overall is in a, the Azurite Sea is probably one of the least printed sets, and this product overall not having it is kind of a giveaway to that, in my opinion. But with that being said, that is going to be it for today's should you open it or should you keep it sealed booster box of Lorcana version, not the Deep Pocket Monster that are just the most fun little videos that exist in the trading card game space, in my opinion. They are awesome. Pat does an amazing job. So that is where we're at for Disney Lorcana sealed booster box, expected value. Should you open it? Should you keep it sealed? Hopefully this video was beneficial to you. I wanted to convey and relay the expected value information. I haven't done it for a while, but I wanted to mix it up rather than just like mentioning it in a video. Wanted to do a deeper dive on something like this. So please let me know your thoughts. I would greatly appreciate it. And with that being said, we'll be back with another video soon. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you later.